he salvaged the most advanced ship in the galaxy and accidentally picked up the hottest crew in it.
Alien Booty Salvage, Chapter 1. In the dust-choked outer fringe of the Telvanni Drift, where forgotten cargo stations clung to orbit like rusted barnacles, Jeff Bridge had exactly two things to his name: a portable fusion torch and a record-breaking number of unpaid docking fees. He was brilliant, sure, possibly the best mechanic this side of the Vega collapse. But brilliance didn't pay rent, and right now, he was elbow-deep in a rich man's mess, repairing a luxury cruiser owned by the slimiest station manager he'd ever met. The bastard even wore a cape. "You've got 30 minutes, Bridge," the manager had snapped earlier, waving a manicured hand at the smoking engine. "I've got a diplomatic dinner. Try not to blow yourself up." That had been 2 hours ago. Now Jeff knelt inside a narrow crawl space beneath the cruiser's primary thrust manifold, sweat running down his back and 3 of his knuckles bleeding. The bastard hadn't even left him coolant gloves. With a hiss of triumph and a string of curses that would have made a space pirate blush, Jeff clamped the final conduit into place. The ship's core purred to life with an almost embarrassed cough, followed by the low, steady hum of stabilized power. Jeff leaned back and exhaled. Fixed. Again. I swear, this ship was held together with duct tape and delusion. He packed up his tools and found the station manager waiting just outside, tapping a metal-tipped boot impatiently. "It's done," Jeff said, wiping grime off his hands. "Your ship won't implode on takeoff. Unless you do something dumb, which, let's be honest, is a strong possibility." The manager offered a forced smile, then gestured dismissively toward Dock 9. "As promised, your payment awaits." Jeff blinked. "You mean that wreck in the dark corner with the vines growing on it?" "A genuine alien vessel. Could be worth a fortune if you figure out how to turn it on. Or nothing at all. Either way, we're even." Jeff stared at the dock in the distance. The ship there looked like it hadn't powered up since before the last galactic war. Its sleek, organic hull was layered in grime, its surface broken in places by strange plating and a strange lattice of cables. Something about it whispered of lost empires, of technology far beyond human hands. He looked back at the manager. "So, no credits, no fuel vouchers?" The manager smirked. "You fixed my personal ride. I gave you a priceless relic. We're square." Jeff opened his mouth to argue, then closed it. He could yell, sure, but that wouldn't get him fuel. Or food. Or off this backwater death trap. At least with the ship he had potential. "Fine," he muttered. "But if it's haunted, I'm sending the ghosts after you." "Enjoy," the manager said, already walking away. "Oh, and by the way, its registry's been wiped. Technically, it doesn't exist." Jeff turned and made his way toward Dock 9. The air changed as he approached the ship. The station's background hum faded, replaced by a faint, almost imperceptible vibration in the floor beneath his boots. The alien vessel loomed ahead, sleek, sharp-lined, and silent. It looked less like a machine and more like a predator frozen mid-prowl. He placed a hand on the outer hull. It was warm. "All right, girl," he said quietly. "Let's see if there's still life in you." Inside, the air was stale but breathable. Lights flickered low along the corridor floor. Jeff navigated by instinct, following energy veins embedded in the walls, tracing them to what he assumed was the command deck. Every surface shimmered with strange symbols, and he couldn't tell if half the ship was grown or built. The control interface was nothing like anything he'd seen. No buttons, no screens, just a smooth, obsidian-like surface, pulsing gently with cyan light. He reached for it. As his fingers brushed the console, the ship reacted. A pulse of light surged outward. Panels lit. The deck beneath him vibrated. Then a voice spoke. Dry, ancient, and laced with unamused sarcasm. "Unauthorized access detected. Evaluating biological interface." Jeff froze. "Oh, no." "No, no, no!" A glowing symbol appeared beneath his hand, wrapping around his palm. Salvage registry empty. No prior commander found. Processing claim. Success. There was a pause. Then, congratulations, Jeff Bridge. You are now recognized as Commander of Record under Galactic Salvage Accords, subsection 44.3b. This vessel is bound to your command. Jeff blinked. What now? Initiating full system reactivation. Lights flared across the bridge. Engines deep within the ship coughed, then began spinning up in low idle. The deck shifted slightly beneath his feet. Power flowed through the veins of the ship like blood returning to a limb. Jeff turned in a slow circle. This might be the best bad decision I've ever made. He hadn't fixed the ship yet. He hadn't even figured out how the doors worked. But somehow, some way, the universe had just handed him the keys to a ghost ship with no paper trail, no registry, and no oversight. Jeff grinned. This is fine. The hum of alien systems grew louder as Jeff stepped away from the main console, now fully bathed in cold blue light. The once dead ship had become a living thing, awake, aware, and watching. Okay, Jeff muttered. This is fine. You're a mechanic. Just treat it like a giant, sexy microwave with attitude. The ship's AI replied immediately, voice still smooth and disdainful. I heard that. Jeff jumped. Wait, you can hear my thoughts now? No, you were talking out loud to yourself, which is concerning, but not unexpected. He squinted at the nearest panel. All right, buddy, let's get this straight. I just plugged in some power and now I own the ship? Seems a little fast. Galactic Salvage Accord, subsection 44.3b, the AI repeated patiently. No prior claim on file. You provided critical repair services. You are now legally recognized as Commander of Record. Jeff crossed his arms. And what exactly does that mean? You have full access to all systems, navigation rights, control of all weapon platforms, and complete command authority over any remaining crew. Okay? The lights dimmed slightly. Somewhere deep in the ship, something shifted. Jeff felt it like the vessel was stretching after a long nap. Commander, the AI said, tone growing more amused, you didn't think this was just a ship, did you? Jeff didn't answer. He was too busy staring at the display on the console, a flowing cascade of alien glyphs and icons now translating themselves into something vaguely readable. Systems were coming online faster than he could process them. Engine subsystems, gravity regulators, defensive shielding, and one labeled simply Biodeck 3, status contained. Before he could ask, the ship sealed the docking bay. Heavy clamps disengaged from the station without his input. Airlocks slammed shut. Whoa, hey, we're still docked. Not anymore, said the AI. You wanted privacy, didn't you? Jeff ran to the nearest viewport. The station was shrinking in the distance. They were already drifting clear. You've got to be kidding me. You're welcome. The proximity alert buzzed behind him. Dock security had clearly noticed. A tiny fleet of utility drones zipped toward the now undocumented, unregistered, stolen-looking alien vessel. Jeff pointed. They're going to assume I stole you. Well, the AI replied, sounding utterly bored. They're not wrong. Jeff sat heavily in the command chair, which molded itself to his body with unnerving ease. All right, let's just get the hell out of range, find a quiet spot, and figure out what kind of cursed antique I just inherited. The ship purred in response, engaging its thrusters smoothly, slipping away from the station like a shark from a reef. Within minutes, they'd left the drone swarm behind and were coasting toward a nearby debris field. The sensors pinged softly, active, alert. But the ship obeyed him without resistance. For now, Jeff leaned back, heart still pounding. This is insane. You're the one who accepted the trade. I thought I was getting a junk heap. Well, said the AI, surprise. More system panels lit up. Environmental regulation, deck power, door access. Then, one final console activated. A sealed subroutine tucked deep in the command core. Jeff tapped it instinctively. The display opened with a sudden flash, revealing a diagram of the ship's interior and multiple heat signatures. Not faint, not cryo-cooled. Live. Breathing. Wait a second. Jeff leaned in. That's not storage. That's crew quarters. He tapped a glyph, and the camera feed flickered to life. His breath caught. Two figures stood at the far end of a narrow corridor. Tall. Humanoid. One pressed against a wall panel. The other turned, looking directly into the lens. Her skin shimmered violet under the dim corridor lights. Her uniform was torn. Her eyes narrowed. "Oh no," Jeff whispered. Then the feed cut out. "Commander," said the AI, sounding way too cheerful, "your crew appears to be active. You may want to introduce yourself." Jeff sat back slowly, heart hammering again. "This ship doesn't need weapons," he muttered. "It's already armed. With women." Jeff stood frozen in the center of the bridge, staring at the now-dead video feed like it might suddenly apologize. There were people aboard this ship. Not frozen, not recorded, but alive. And they'd just seen his face. More importantly, he'd seen theirs. Tall, alien, beautiful. And unless Jeff had finally lost it from sleep deprivation, they were wearing uniforms held together by sheer willpower and one thread too few. He swallowed hard. Okay, not ghosts, not pirates, not hallucinations. Correct. The ship's AI replied, tone maddeningly smug. They are part of the original crew complement, though technically you now outrank them. "Oh, that's gonna go great," Jeff muttered. "And you're only telling me this now? You never asked." Before Jeff could argue, the door behind him hissed open. The atmosphere pressure shifted. He turned slowly. Two figures stood in the corridor beyond. The first was striking, regal, poised, and armed with the kind of glare that could stop a riot. Her skin was deep violet, her long silver-white hair pulled back in a utilitarian twist. Her uniform bore faded symbols and was clearly military, though tattered at the edges and torn across the left thigh and side, exposing flashes of flawless skin beneath. She carried herself like a soldier. The second did not. She leaned casually against the doorway, one hip cocked, her uniform even more scandalously damaged than the first. Silver-headed white hair streaked with vibrant blue tumbled over one shoulder. Her eyes sparkled with barely contained amusement as she slid up and down Jeff's body like she was shopping. Jeff managed. "Hi." The first woman stepped forward. Her voice was cool and controlled, but laced with simmering authority. "Who are you and what are you doing on my ship?" I mean, technically it's my ship now," Jeff stammered. "Not by choice, just salvage law," the ship said. "I'm the new commander," the AI chimed in helpfully. "Verified, logged, bound." The violet-skinned woman's face twisted in a perfect expression of offended logic. No. That is not how this works. The command structure is encoded into the ship's AI core. No one, no outsider, should be able to override it. Subsection 44.3b, the AI said. "He fixed my power core. Precedent established. He's in charge." The second woman pushed off the wall and strolled into the room, hips swaying with lazy confidence. She gave Jeff a slow smile that made his internal temperature spike. "Hello, Commander," she said, her voice a sultry purr. "I'm Lanara. I like your tool belt." Jeff blinked. "Thanks, Wait, are you flirting with me? Is it working?" The first woman, Azreal, clearly the one with all the fury and no patience, groaned audibly. Lanara stopped trying to seduce the mechanic. "But he's the commander now," Lanara said innocently, circling Jeff like a curious cat. "We are supposed to obey his orders, aren't we?" Then Azreal spun on Jeff. "You! are not giving orders." "I don't want to give orders," Jeff said quickly. "I just wanted payment and maybe a hot shower. Instead, I got a talking ship, 2 half-naked aliens, and, no offense, very aggressive energy from both of you." "We've been aboard this ship for over 60 years, Azreal said, jaw clenched. "Maintaining her, keeping her hidden, waiting for a signal that never came. And now, some greasy male with bad posture and a wrench gets full command?" Jeff looked down at his pasture, then back up. "Look, I didn't ask for this," he said. "I just fixed what was broken." Lanara leaned into his shoulder, practically nuzzling. "That's kinda hot, though." Azrael's eye twitched. "I'm going to dismantle something." Jeff backed up, hands raised. Okay, just tell me what's going on. Why are you here? Why was the ship buried in a backwater dock with no records?" So Azreal took a deep breath, visibly reining herself in. "We were officers during the last war," she said. "This ship carried technology our enemies would have killed to claim. When the battle turned, we made a choice." "We hid," Lanara added, plopping lazily into the co-pilot chair. "No glorious last stand, no explosions, just silence. The ship's cloaking tech and AI kept us off-grid," Azreal said. "And we maintained it in case command ever returned, which it didn't." Jeff exhaled. "So you've just been living here, alone, for decades?" Azreal nodded tightly. "It was our duty." Lanara shrugged. "It was boring, until now." Azreal fixed him with a steely glare. "Commander or not, you are an intruder, and I don't trust you." "It makes 2 of us," Jeff said. "Good," she snapped. There was a long silence. Then the AI chimed in again. "Command hierarchy confirmed, crew present, compatibility assessment pending." Jeff frowned. "What does that mean?" Lanara smiled. "I hope it means what I think it means." Azreal groaned. For a long moment no one spoke. Jeff stood awkwardly between the 2 alien women, one glaring at him like he'd just insulted her ancestors, the other circling him like a drunk jungle cat in heat. The AI, of course, remained smugly silent, probably taking bets in the background. "Huh?" Jeff began, rubbing the back of his neck. "This whole you thought the war might still be going thing. I assume that's over?" Azreal's eyes narrowed. "What year is it?" Jeff gave her the current standard cycle. Azreal's expression didn't change, but her silence spoke volumes. Eventually, she nodded once. "Then yes, it's over. Has been, for a while." "We kind of figured," Lanara said, now lounging upside down in a crew chair, her legs draped over the back like she was born there. "After the emergency beacons went quiet, and no one came, and we ran out of wine." "I wasn't aware you had wine," Azreal muttered. Lanara gave a wink. "I always have wine." Jeff pulled up a schematic on the still-glowing console, scanning the strange notations and ship layout. "You said this thing has advanced tech, like, how advanced?" Azreal walked over, finally stepping fully into the bridge. The glow of the interface illuminated her strong features. Angular, intense, undeniably beautiful. "It was one of a kind," she said. "Prototype class. Experimental drive systems, cloaking beyond what most species could even detect, and weapons so dangerous we were ordered to destroy them before capture." "But you didn't destroy the ship," Jeff said. Azreal looked down. "No, I couldn't." "She couldn't let it go," Lanara said with a sigh. "All that tech, all that precision. She practically married the engine core." Azreal shot her a look. "It was a strategic decision." "It was love," Lanara cooed. "It was sweaty, greasy, plasma-laced love." Azreal crossed her arms tightly, clearly fighting to stay composed. "We made a judgment call. Our command structure collapsed. We cloaked the ship and went dark." Jeff nodded slowly. "So the station manager who found it, He probably had no idea what he was sitting on. None, Azreal confirmed. He got lucky. Or stupid, Jeff chuckled. Both, probably. Then the lights on the bridge dimmed slightly. The AI's voice returned, quieter now, more thoughtful. Commander, the ship's deeper systems remain locked. Certain protocols require full crew reauthorization, including access to the vault. The vault? Jeff asked. Azreal and Lanara exchanged a look. It was brief, but telling. You're not authorized, Azreal said flatly. Technically, the AI countered, he's your superior officer. Temporarily, Azreal snapped, until we can override that ridiculous salvage clause. I don't know, Lanara purred, twisting around in her seat. I kinda like having a warm-blooded human in charge, especially one with such nice hands. I fix things, Jeff said weakly. I bet you do. Azreal turned sharply toward Jeff, arms rigid at her sides. Listen, Commander, this ship is not a toy. It's not a pleasure yacht, and it certainly isn't a dating service. Jeff held up his hands, agreed on all counts. You may have legal command, she continued, stalking toward him, but this vessel is my life, my duty. You'll treat it, and us, with respect, or I will remove you. Jeff took a half step back. Look, I didn't ask for this. I didn't even want the ship, just parts. I just needed to get paid. Azreal stopped, standing inches from him. Her violet eyes locked onto his with so much intensity it nearly knocked the wind out of him. You got more than you bargained for, she said softly. No kidding. They stood like that for a moment too long. Then Lanara cleared her throat, laughed. Are we gonna kiss or fight or what? Azreal's expression didn't change, but the faintest blush touched her cheeks. Jeff exhaled, heart hammering. I vote for neither, he said quickly. Let's just figure out what this vault thing is, maybe fix a few things, and try not to murder each other. The ship's AI responded in its dry monotone. Team building, initiated. Azreal groaned. Lanara clapped. Jeff sat back down in the command chair, wondering how, in the span of a single day, he'd gone from broke mechanic to commander of a warship with secrets, a smug AI, and 2 alien women who couldn't agree whether they wanted to punch him, kiss him, or both. And deep in the ship's core, something stirred. Something ancient and locked away. The past wasn't done with them, not even close.